How did you decide to go into business? How did you decide on this particular business? How did you prepare for the business, for starting the business? Are there any other businesses that you were involved in? What sort of things did you do before business? What challenges did you face as a business owner in this particular field? How did you keep yourself motivated in hard times? Like, for example, when I asked this woman who's 99 years old, she started out. She went to beauty school to be a beautician, and I just recently, like in the last couple of years, I found out that she went to school the same time as my mother, and they were in the same class together. So when they graduated, she asked my mother to work with her in her beauty business. And my mother did it for 2 weeks and she hated it. But she did go through school and she got her cosmetology license and all of that. So she started out as a beautician and she did that, I guess, for maybe 30 or 40 years. And then she bought her building where she has her beautician's business, and someone asked her to get involved in real estate. So she went to real estate school, got her license, became a broker, and at the same time, um, she invested in real estate, and she invested in real estate on her block. So she lives on a block where she owns her own house, but she owns like 4 or 5 other houses on the block, which is really surprising because the block, it was only 2 blocks from where I was growing up, and I never knew any of this stuff was going on. And then when I saw her about 2 years ago, so that made her like 98 years old, she had a strategy for expanding her business. So she was going to take half of her space, and rent it out to professionals like tax preparers, accountants, and someone who worked in the Veterans Administration providing services for veterans. And then she was going to keep the other side for her real estate and continue to do her real estate business. And she said to me, she says, my son who's in his 70s, he can't believe that he has a mother 98 years old who's looking to expand her business. Most people at 98, they just kind of want to chill out. But she had some health setbacks, and now she's in a assisted living um, residence, and so she's no longer able to conduct her business. But she's just so remarkable to have done and to work, all her life, on her own. And I asked her, why did you decide to go into business? And she felt that she could make the most money running her own business so that she could take care of her children, raise her children, and send them to college. And so I asked her, well, what motivated you um, to do this in hard times? And she always responded, leaning on the Lord. She said, I did so much praying. And sometimes things, the challenges that she faced, she said that she would come home crying, just lying on her bed, just crying because things just weren't going well. But she stopped crying long enough to pray to God, and she just had that spiritual strength to get her through, the bad times as well as the good times. So those are my questions. What do you feel are the keys for success in business? Who was there to help you the most? Who were your role models? How did you continue to grow and expand your business? And how did business help to develop you as a person? I mean, I've got a whole bunch of questions here, so I'm not going to go through them all. And then depending on what type of business they're in, you may want to tailor the question. For example, one of the people who I would like to interview is Solomon Yisrael. He's retired now, and he's a therapist, and he was a therapist, and he was very much involved in mental health. So I had come up with some questions about mental health. What can Black families do to understand and become more acceptable of the notion of mental health and therapy as a solution to emotional or mental problems? So whatever the business is, you may want to kind of tailor a question related to what business they're in. And there are 2 other businesses, real estate businesses, business owners. In fact, the last time you ladies were here, you met her, Sonia. She was walking out as you and your mother were walking in. And she's a real estate investor, which means that she's a multimillionaire because real estate in Harlem is just so valuable. And there's another friend of mine who owns real estate in Harlem. She's also a multimillionaire. And so I was telling them about the project and asking them if they would be willing to be interviewed. And they were so excited that they said that they wanted to volunteer for the project. So when we're going to have a meeting next Thursday with the library staff, with the school and students who are going to be participating, and they'll be there as well. So I would like for you to interview during this month as many as you can do, and if you're available beyond January, but if you're not, I would like for you to work with the younger people and help them in the process of interviewing. How does that sound?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. Sounds perfect. And so, given that, what do you think would be a reasonable amount of interviews that you think that you can do in the space of, let's say, 3 weeks that we have?
I think probably 4, maybe 5 at the most, depending on how much time.
Okay, that's good. So since it's going to be 2, see, if you were doing the interviews singly, then 5, 5, 5, and 5, that would be 20 interviews totally.
Yeah.
Total. But since you're going to be pairing up, that would be 4 interviews for a couple or for a pair. Mm-hmm. So that would be 8 interviews total, which is fine. You think that's reasonable, Eric?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. All right. So based on what I've said in terms of the questions that I presented, can you think of any special questions that you would like to have answered by a business owner? And not only think about them as a business owner, but as someone who's seasoned in life and has a tremendous amount of life experience, and also their business expertise that they can share with you. You can also utilize in, the world of work if you decide. Well, even if you do your own business, you'll probably work before you do your own business. So what they have to offer is really important, not only, as I said, in terms of business ownership, but just, navigating the world of work. So, so